Hello and welcome to the Irish Aesthete. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most special places in Ireland, an enchanting 18th century lodge tucked away in its own private valley deep within the Wicklow Mountains south of Dublin. The place is called Luggala, and the name is believed to derive from the Irish Logan Loch, meaning hollow of the hill, and it's easy to see why this should be the case. Luggala lies at the bottom of a valley with steep mountains on either side and a river meandering its way through to join the lake in front called Loch Tay. Whereas the slopes on the eastern side are covered in trees and vegetation, those on the west present a near barren cliff of granite and quartzite. Not much is known about the early history of Luggala. However, there's a long-standing legend that in the 6th century St. Kevin came here with the intention of founding a monastery. Unfortunately, one of his earliest and most fervent followers was a young woman called Kathleen, and she simply wouldn't leave him alone. As a result, St. Kevin had to flee a few miles further south to another valley called Glendalough, and there he established his monastery, but only after driving off Kathleen by beating her with bunches of nettles. Whatever the truth of that legend, for about 1,000 years, the entire area around here was nominally under the ownership first of the Abbot of Glendalough and then the Archbishop of Dublin. All this changed in December 1788, when a lease was signed for the possession of Luggala and surrounding lands for a term of 3 lives, the usual period then granted. The man who signed the lease was Peter la Touche. He was a member of a wealthy banking family of Huguenot extraction. They'd had to leave France in the mid-1680s owing to religious persecution and had settled in Ireland. The La Touches had originally been involved in silk and poplin manufacture, but after a while they started to look after the money of their fellow refugees, and in 1712 they established their own bank. A decade later, the La Touches opened smart new premises next to Dublin Castle. These survived until 1945 when, alas, the building was demolished. Peter la Touche was born in Dublin, where, as an adult, he owned a splendid house on St. Stephen's Green. After his father died, he also inherited an estate in County Wicklow called Bellevue, which stood about 10 miles east of Luggala. Peter and his second wife, Elizabeth, greatly improved Bellevue, not least by adding onto one side of the main house a sequence of interconnecting conservatories and greenhouses, which altogether ran some 500 feet and survived well into the last century. Unfortunately, they're now all gone. Built at the cost of some £3,000, these glassworks included a square-shaped orangery, a vinery measuring 42 by 24 feet and containing 15 different varieties of grape, 2 peach houses, each 50 feet long, a pinery in which much prized pineapples were grown, and an immense oval conservatory rising 20 feet into the air. No wonder Edmund Burke, on a visit to Bellevue, exclaimed to his hostess, Elizabeth la Touche, "Oh, ma'am, this is absolutely the Arabian Nights entertainments." The grounds of the Bellevue estate contained many other delights, such as an octagonal pavilion, from the windows of which you could see a well-known beauty spot, the Glen of the Downs. The pavilion's entrance hall contained a stuffed panther which, when the door was opened, would be released by a hidden spring and appear to leap forward to startle unsuspecting guests. Despite their undoubtedly luxurious life, the La Touches earned a reputation for philanthropy, Elizabeth founding a school for impoverished girls on the Bellevue estate. She was also one of the key figures behind the establishment of a girls' orphanage in Dublin. In 1800, the artist Hugh Douglas Hamilton, who was much patronized by the La Touche family, painted a view of the period's most celebrated preacher, Dean Walter Kirwan, delivering his annual sermon on behalf of the female orphan house. Meanwhile, Elizabeth herself was painted by Matthew Peters as the apotheosis of female beauty. The work was then made into a popular engraving. This then was the couple who, in the late 1780s, decided to acquire a further piece of land at Luggala and there build for themselves a simple lodge to which they could retreat from the world. And in the next episode, I'll talk a little about the design of Luggala and how, almost as soon as it was completed, it became a popular destination for travellers. Thank you so much for watching The Irish Aesthete. I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.